So what will you do when the party's over? So what will you do when the party's over?
Hey guys, welcome to Third Man in the Ring, man. This is an awesome interview today. I'm gonna talk to, you guys will recognize him, John Molina, from 135 to 140, 147, I think.
147.
But hey guys, you couldn't ask for a better, exciting fighter than John Molina. Every time he fought, he brought it, bro. So today we're gonna interview John about his life, how he grew up, where he grew up. And I want you to give him a warm welcome, my friend, your friend, John Molina.
How's it going, sir? Thank you for having me.
Hey, John, it's awesome, bro, that you came on. I mean, I just, again, you know what, fans? When John was in a fight, it was just guaranteed just excitement. You know what? He gave, and I hope you don't take this disrespectful, John, he gave the average Joe that say like, hey, man, maybe I could do this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But definitely it took skills, though.
Yeah,
you know what, John?
definitely. It was a long road. I had a short cup of coffee in the amateur career.
Yeah.
And
yeah, so to start off there, your amateur career.
Amateur career, I'll never forget. I started boxing first at 10 years old with Larry Ponce, the late, great Larry Ponce.
Yeah, he passed away, Larry Ponce. He had a different last name, Larry Mena.
Okay.
And then, but Ponce, when I knew him, was Ponce. And then when he got older, apparently he found out some dad issues.
Yeah.
May he rest in peace. He went home to be with the Lord. He died of cancer, but ugly disease. But yeah, Larry.
We had Larry, and we started training at 10 years old in his garage. And he says, and I'll never forget, he held the mitts for me. And he got off the phone, or got out of there, and he called his brother, I believe, on the phone.
Juano.
And he says, hey, I just found the next champion of the world. This kid hits harder than anyone I've ever seen in my life. And it didn't make sense to me. I was 10 years old. I didn't know what else.
Yeah.
But I was, okay, but at 10 years old, I wanted to play every other sport under the sun. Wrestling, boxing, or football, baseball. So I kind of shied away from boxing for a while. Fast forward to, I'm 17 years old, 16, 17 years old, I started boxing again. And it took off from there.
And you had a little quick story about Ray Jr., my son, right?
Yes, he actually had a very important, pivotal role in why I became a fighter. People don't know, but me and Ray Jr. went to the same elementary school together.
Yeah.
And he was a fighter, and he brought a picture one day of him wearing these shorts, half Mexican, half American flag, and they called him Bad Boy. And I said, oh my gosh, I want to do that. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I would talk to him. We ran in the same circle. We hung out together, and as much as you can as a kid. But ever since that day, I went home and started boxing in my backyard.
And I think Ray Jr. watched every one of your fights, bro.
Who I still share contact with, this guy. We talk on social media.
Yeah.
He's a great LAPD cop for the past 18 years, I believe.
Yeah, 18 years, brother.
And so again, we did something right. The formula worked for both of us. It worked out.
And you know what, fans? I don't know if you know, and we're going to get to that part of his story. From one dangerous career, John ended up being a sheriff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But we'll get to that. But right now, so where did you grow up at?
I grew up in Covina. In Covina. I've been there again. I always represent Covina. That's my home.
That's right.
So I always
SGV.
That's it, always. And there was no boxing gyms in Covina. I had to go to Morgan Park, which is in Baldwin Park.
Yeah.
I went to Morgan Park. I trained with Chief. He passed away as well. I trained with Dub Huntley.
Dub.
We used to call him Double Up Dub. And then
he's in LA now, no?
Yeah, I believe Broadway Boxing Gym.
Broadway, yeah.
And then from there, I went to the master of boxing, which is Ben Lira.
That's right,
Ben Lira.
Great, dear to my heart, man.
Ben Lira. I went there. I actually fought his fighter in the championship fight in the Golden Gloves and knocked him out. And that's me and Ben Lira met. I hit him with the right hand, and this kid had numerous fights, and I think his career ended after that, if not.
And you know what, John, and not to blow smoke, bro, it's hard to get a knockout in amateurs. Yeah. You know what I mean? Unless it's that type of knockout, you know what I mean?
I had
so obviously Ben,
fights.
Obviously Ben already knew, you know, this guy got a right hand on him, you know?
Yeah.
And did you ever, at that young age, did you figure this is my ticket?
I didn't. I realized I was always stronger. I looked at a guy my size. I looked at a guy my size and said, "I'm going to kill this guy." I mean, that's pretty much. I knew I was always stronger. When I got rated the hardest puncher in the world, Ring Magazine.
Yes.
They interviewed me and said,
"You're getting ahead of me, bro."
They said, "How do you feel about it?" I said, "I've been saying this my whole life. Now you guys finally believe it."
Now.
But yeah, no, I knew boxing was. I love the one-on-one competition. I love that if you lose a fight, it's because of yourself. If you win a fight, it's because of yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, and my dad was a fighter as well, and he definitely.
And we're going to touch on that. John Sr. went home to be with the Lord as well, but he was a big part of your life, right?
Big part of my life. Was there for every fight. From the first fight, dates back to 5th grade, and I'm the new kid in the school, and these 2 kids come up to me and they're messing with me and whatnot. And my dad said, "All right." My dad went outside, went down the street, walked to the guy's house, knocked on the door and said, "Hey, our son's got a problem. I'm old school. These kids are going to fight, but we're going to be there to watch and make sure no one gets hurt." And the dad agreed. We fought, and I beat the hell out of 2 kids at once.
Wow.
And
thank God nobody knocked on my door.
And after that, we became good friends growing up. The father had nothing but the utmost respect for me. Shook my hand.
And probably followed you.
And legit, to this day, I'm still talking to these guys. And I'll never forget, but my dad said, "This is how we handled it."
That's right.
And we handled it and walked our separate ways, and it went well.
So how was your growing up life with brothers and sisters?
2 sisters. So, I was the only boy. So I was the youngest, so I was already the golden child as it is.
Yeah.
So, but my oldest sister is the female version of me in regards to when it's time to fight, it's time to fight.
Yeah.
My middle sister, Jennifer, who's definitely, she has a little more common sense, I think, than some of us. And she thinks about the end result a little more than we do. So, my sisters were real good.
So you had a close family?
Very close family, yeah. Very close to my family.
Mom,
Dad. My parents been together since they were 13 years old.
Wow.
Again, I don't want to get ahead of the game, but I mean, when I found out my father got diagnosed with cancer, I'll never forget because I was already working. I was already a cop. I was working. I get a phone call from Captain Haynes, who was my bodyguard during my career. One of my bodyguards. I'll mention all the guys' names because I want them to all get some love. But he called me and said, "Hey man, your dad's sick." Now, my dad's the kind of guy when he gets sick, it's like, "Hey, no big deal. Hey, put some dirt on it, you'll be all right."
Yeah.
"Hey, your dad's sick." I call him up. "Hey, you got to come get me. I had to go to the hospital." "All right, cool. I'm gonna walk out of work. I'm gonna go." I go there to the hospital and I see my dad and I see him walking very gingerly, and I'm like, and this is a guy who, to the day he passed away, I feared, because this is the guy that kicked my butt every day when I did something wrong. There was no ADD pills back in my day growing up. ADD pill was a belt.
That's right.
I grabbed
but you know what, John? Props to that, because he raised a good man.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And I grabbed my dad's arm, and I felt bone. And I was like, and it threw me off because I hadn't seen him in like 3 weeks because I was working and life was life.
Life was going on, yeah.
And I said, "What the heck, man? Okay, maybe he was diabetic, so maybe his diabetes is kicking in, getting older now. Maybe that's what's happened." And then the next day I get a phone call from my mom and she says, "Hey, your dad can't get out of bed." Like, my dad's the toughest guy I've ever met in my life. He's gonna get out of bed. Hey, it was during COVID. So the ambulance came and said, "Hey, we don't want to take him. We'll take him in a little bit because it's COVID." I got on the phone. "Hey, this is Deputy Molina. Oh, sir, sorry, sir. We're going to take him right now." They took my father to the hospital. And he went to the hospital like, "Dude, you got to find out something." All his vitals, everything checked out, okay. And I get a phone call. I'll never forget. I was at Target with my family. And I'm walking out. It was a rainy day. It was September. I get a phone call from Dad. And let me answer this. "Hey, what's up, Pops?" He said, hey, kid, I gotta tell you, it's cancer." I said, "What?" And it hit me, boom, right there, and it hit me. He says, "I don't know how much more time I have." He thought, "But you're the only man in the family. You need to call your mom right now and tell her I can't do it." I said, "Oh my gosh." So I walk out, I put my family in the car, it was raining. I call my mom, whom they've been together since they were 13 years old. I call her and I say, hey Mom, I just talked to Dad. I said, it's cancer. I said, it's, and my mom, the crying in her voice, it was like a moaning. It was a deep cry. And it broke my heart because my mom's whole life was my dad. Like that was it. They've been together since 13 years old. That was it. And she said, what am I gonna do? And she said, no, she's crying. I said, Mom, I'll be there in a little bit. Just relax, we're gonna be okay. We're gonna get through this. And then I talked to my dad, and he says, you know, everything. I got to live my boxing career, got to become a cop. He got to experience all that, made him proud, and he told me that. And then I go to see him in his bed, and he's laying down, and he tells me, hey kid, you're the man of the house, you're the man of the family. He says, you need to be here until my last breath. Not your mom, not your sisters, you do. And it scared me. I was like, oh, it scared the hell out of me. And he goes, he says, this is your job as a man. So fast forward, we got hospice at the house room because I didn't want him to die in the hospital.
Yeah.
And it's 4 a.m, I'm holding his hand, he's holding my hand. And he breathes in, breathes out. I feel his heart rate, it goes up, and he was gone in my arms. And I was like, it did something to me, but in a good way. It made me invincible in my mind, my mentality. It made me more of a man. And am I sad that he's gone? Yes, that I don't get to conversate with him and ask him about mile 43 that's coming up in my life. But I know he's still there. I know for a fact he's still there, but that's a whole nother can of worms we can open up. But what he did was he literally made me a man. Every fear I've ever had in life went out the door the day my dad died in my arms. I'm not afraid of anything in life. My only fear is leaving my kids behind. That's it, until they're ready. But with that being said, he knew what he was doing. He had to make me a man. He wanted to finish his job as making me a man, and he did that night when he passed away in my arms. So it was it was, again,
it's heavy, bro.
It was a very great learning experience, and he gave me everything. He gave me everything what it takes to be a man. And that night, he finalized it. And I didn't understand what he was doing until 2 weeks later, I'm home, and I'm like, man, why did he do that to me? What was he? But now that I think about it, like, he wanted to make sure I could face anything in this world, and that was it. It was
made you a better father as well.
Oh, 1,000%. A better father, better man. I'm fearless. Not in a dumb, not in a dumb way, but I'm not afraid to die. I'm afraid of getting eaten by a shark. Yeah. I'm afraid of getting shot. Yeah. I'm not afraid of the next journey is what I'm saying. I have no fear when it comes to that.
So he got to see his grandkids though?
Oh, 1,000%. All his grandkids. That was hard to go to my kids and go home and say, hey, Grandpa's gone. And that was hard, but there's nothing I can't
face. They got good memories with
Oh, great memories. That was my dad was a lot like me. He made a lot of nicknames for everybody. We still use them. My dad was a rough guy.
And you know what, John? I know you know, bro, but he loved you big.
Oh, I know that. 1,000%.
And you
now
know,
that I'm a father,
I've done 2 of your fights, and he always told me, Ray, take care of my son, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He told me straight on, and when he would talk to me like that, he looked me dead in the eyes, bro.
Yeah.
That was a sincere, you know.
Yeah. He was a good guy, hardworking man, and I remember one time I was 10 years old. I put on the boxing gloves with my dad, and he's the guy that's my hero. I can't hurt this guy. Boom! I hit him, and his face swelled up, and he goes, "Man, this kid hits hard." I made a mark on my hero's face.
Yeah.
And he was, all right, slow down. You're getting a little too old for you now. But, you know, I'll never forget, funny story to go back to my dad. It was I was coming up in the boxing game. I was a new fighter. And we were going to Costco to go eat. And this guy cuts off my dad in the parking lot. And I said, okay, whatever. It goes around. The guy comes out of his car, starts walking towards my dad. You need to learn how to drive, sir. I'm like, oh, here we go. My dad hit this guy with the cart all the way to the door. Security, security. My dad said, get out of here before you get hurt, man.
Yeah.
My dad was one of those kind of guys.
Gave him a chance, yeah.
Yeah, gave him a chance.
Like,
But me, I was cutting weight to 135 pounds. I was all sucked up. I was like, man, you get in a fight. What am I going to do right now? But it was pretty funny.
well, with that said, John, so you did your amateur career. What did you say? I'm going to turn pro, or was that already in the making? Or
I did my amateur career.
how far did you go, real quick?
I won
in
4 national titles as an amateur. Went all the way to won the national. Went all the way. Was getting ready to go to the Olympic qualifiers.
And it's hard. It's hard to win in amateurs because you could be the big puncher you are, and if the other guy's real point wise.
Exactly. So we felt my style was more suited for the pros.
Pros, yeah.
I had 22 amateur fights with 17 knockouts in amateurs, which is huge. Because when I would walk in there, who's this kid that came out of nowhere that's knocking everybody out? These kids with 100 fights, 150 fights, and whatnot. And I remember I lost. I think it was the Pals, and I go back to Ben Lira's office. Ben Lira was my trainer already. He said, "Hey kid," he's like, you're never gonna fight amateur again." I said, "Oh my gosh, did I do that bad? Like, I'm not gonna fight again?" He said, "No, kid, you're turning pro." I said, "Whoa!" So we turned pro. I had my first fight at Maywood Activity Center on Showtime. It was a top-ranked fight. Famoso Hernandez and Antion were the main event, and on the card was myself, Brandon Rios, Victor Ortiz.
Wow.
And myself, obviously, and we were these kids that were trying to make a name for ourselves. And luckily the Teamsters sponsored me, so they would buy all the tickets. So every local promoter loved me because I sold the whole house.
Yeah.
And I fought, and I was so nervous. I'll never forget, we don't know who we're fighting. We're getting ready to line up. When you're a new fighter, there's no structure. Unless you're an Olympian and gold medalist, there's no real structure behind it. So I'm talking to this guy at the weigh-in, "Hey bro, like, my first pro fight, man, I'm ready." And he goes, "Yeah, me too. No, I've already had 3 fights." And I said, "Oh, all right, John Molina Jr. right here. Lester Belmontes," the guy I'm talking to. I said, "Oh man, I don't want to talk to you anymore." We go, and Jesse Reed was his trainer.
Oh yeah,
Jesse Reed, who was a very notable name.
Yes.
Johnny Tapia, amongst other fighters that he had. And I go to fight this guy, and I remember thinking, "Oh my gosh, I'm nervous." And the first punch he hits me with feels like a rock bouncing off my head. I said, "Holy crap, this is real." And there's no headgear, so everything's wide open. You got little gloves that feel like batting gloves. I knocked this guy out in the second round. And I was so nervous. We go back home. I said, "Hey, Dad." I said, "I was nervous." He said, "John, if I would have told you how nervous I was, you wouldn't have fought that night." I said, "Oh." I said, "You lied to me." And then fast forward to my 5th pro fight. I'm making a name for myself. We're in Vegas. And when you're a new fighter, you share a dressing room with other fighters. I don't know if people know that.
Yeah.
You share a dressing room with other fighters. And there was a kid who just went out to have a fight. He just fought the next great champion, the De La Hoya show. Remember that it was a reality show that Oscar did before the.
Oh yeah.
So this kid was a very good-looking guy, good fighter, and he's sharing the locker room with me. He had a fight before me, and he goes walking back, and they're carrying him like this, and his nose is to the side of his face, and he has a cut on his eye. And I look at him, and I was staring at him, and all of a sudden I felt someone hit me. Boom! Side of my face. I turned around. My dad said, "If I ever see that look in your eye again, we're never gonna fight again." He said, "Don't look away. Look at him. This is the sport you chose. This is what can happen to you. This is the reality of your sport. If you're not okay with that, you don't belong in this sport."
Yeah.
And I went out there and I dropped the guy every round. I won a knockout, a guy from Cuba, and my dad reality checked me. But he knocked that fear out of my head right away. But legit hit me harder than the guy hit me in the fight. Boom! Don't ever let me see that look on your face again, because this is the reality of our sport, and this is what life is in boxing. And if you're not ready for it, you don't belong here.
And this was your 5th fight?
This was my 5th fight.
So let me ask you that, John. In this 5th fight, did you see yourself saying, "I can make a name here, I can be a champion"?
Well,
or did you say, be honest with yourself, be honest with the fans?
Oh, 1,000%. I'm on it. It's what I wanted. Legit, when my dad hit me it snapped me back to my boxing reality. And in this sport, if you're not willing to die or kill someone in that ring, you don't belong. I know it sounds brutal. I know it sounds borderline psychotic, but we're fighting. We're not fighting to say, oh, truth be told, if I kill you in the ring,
Nothing
hey, let's go talk about it. Hey, I killed someone in the ring. That's how bad I am.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's the mentality you got to have. That's how you weed out the real fighters from the guys that want to be a fighter. The glory is in the ring, but to get there, you got guys that there's no punch in boxing that doesn't hurt. They all hurt. People don't realize that every punch hurts. So, but I always try to explain that to these people. You're gonna find someone that and see if they belong or if they don't belong, because boxing is not fun in the regards of if you can't take pain, you don't belong in there.
Exactly. And that's one thing. And again, not to blow smoke, when you went to a John Molina fight, you knew it was going to be action-packed. I mean, and don't take it disrespectful, John, you were rough around the edges.
Oh, 1,000%.
You were rough around the edges. You weren't that guy that jumped around. You were just like, come on, man. Yeah. Come on, you know?
And I'll attribute
it was a skilled street fight.
Yeah,
almost, you know?
I would attribute that to my ADD. I didn't have time I didn't want to sit there and significantly and strategically pick you apart. I want to hit, you hit me, and I'm going to hit you, and we're going to see who's left standing.
That's right.
I mean, and
the fans love that kind of stuff. You know?
The only fight where I pulled out some of my boxing skills, if you will, and I attribute that a lot to Shadid Saluki, was when I fought Provandnikov, and I outboxed him. But
Say that name again so we could have it on our split screen.
Ruslan Provandnikov.
Okay.
Who was the guy was harder than a piece of metal. That guy, I mean, he fought Timothy Bradley, Fight of the Year, fought myself, Lucas Matthysse. I mean, this guy was, I hit this guy with my shot, which dropped a lot of people. He looked at me and smiled and said, come on. I said, holy crap.
We're in the fight, huh?
We're going to be in it now. I hit him to the body. Boom. And finally he tightened up for 20 seconds. I said, oh, I heard him. He's human. I got him. But
so let me ask you that, John. When you're in the fight, are you actually thinking, or are you just going through the way you train at the gym? Are you actually saying, okay, this ain't working, that's working, or should I just work the body more?
Yeah, you're definitely thinking. I had a lot of great trainers. In that ring, your fight or flight is second to none in there, because you're in there fighting one of the best in the world who's trying to kill you, literally kill you.
Yeah, literally trying to kill you.
And so when I'm under there, it slows down in the ring. I don't know if it makes sense, but you ever go to a baseball game or a basketball game, a professional one, and you look like, hey, I might be able to do that, but
all the time. Man.
That's what. But once you're in there, it's a different speed, a different technique.
Yeah.
But
and let me ask you this now, after the fact, could you actually hear your trainers?
Yeah, I could.
You could?
I had great trainers. Again, we'll touch on that. Ben Lira, Larry Pons, my father, John Molina Jr., Ben Lira, Joe Goosen, Shadid Saluki.
So when you're fighting and they're yelling these instructions, you're hearing them?
Yeah, especially when you have
through the rough times, even.
Oh, 1,000%. Especially when you have such a voice like Joe Goosen.
It's high echelon trainers. These
Yeah.
guys are well-known trainers. They're known. So you obviously, like Ben used to say, if you don't trust me, we don't need to be in here.
You gotta trust your trainer so much that if he goes outside and tells you the grass is blue, hey, the grass is blue.
Right.
Like that's how much you gotta put. Because now that I'm on this side of the fence, training people and training kids, it's a different perspective. I see different holes in the game. I said, man, my trainer must have hated my ass because I didn't listen to him.
They did, bro.
God, just use your job.
From all my years of boxing, I'm a lot older than you.
Mm-hmm.
The reason you made fights exciting because you were just a straight brawler. People love that, bro.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. People love that. But from a training perspective, I go, man, Ben's probably going bananas.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
1,000%. And it's so difficult because it seems so easy to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
But now that I have a fighter, sometimes it's like I'm talking to a brick wall because the kid's not listening.
Yeah, yeah.
But now I get it. Now I know how frustrated they were with me. Just do what I say. Like, can't figure it out.
So let's talk about a couple of your fights, you know? Yeah. Bring up something here so we could touch bases on it.
I'll talk about a fight. My first number, I just got to number 1 in the world as a lightweight, 135.
which is a stacked.
Yeah,
a
at that point it was very stacked. The man to beat there was Terrence Crawford.
Yes, stacked.
And I remember first hearing about Terrence Crawford. I think Ring Magazine did a special on him because he was with Top Rank, and I said, "Man, who's this guy?"
Huh.
I'm like, "Put me in the ring with this guy. I'm gonna knock him out."
Find his food way.
He had his cornrows and
Yeah.
I said, "I'm gonna knock this guy out."
He's a country kid.
Yeah,
country
but
kid.
the kid is the best of our era.
Yes.
Hey, Terrence, man, I've talked to you before. You now have to decide. Terrence Crawford in his prime, Floyd Mayweather in their prime. It's a toss-up, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They're both that talented.
Yes.
So
I agree. I agree.
I go to fight. I don't want to. Andre Klimov. I was a favorite to beat him. Go to fight Andre Klimov. I was too big for my britches. I didn't really train the way I should have trained. I thought I'm gonna hit this guy and knock him out. The guy beats me on the points. And I was with Goosen Tudor Promotion, Dan Goosen, the late great Dan Goosen, who's one of the best.
Yes.
I go into his office. I just had my first kid. This is 2012. Just had my first kid. I lose one of my major sponsors because I lose a fight.
Wow.
And I was like,
That must have hurt it.
oh, big time, because the 3 words a fighter doesn't want to hear is get a job. That's the reality of our sport. So I go to the office because Dan always had an open door policy. You want to talk to me, come right into my door. Dan wasn't, he was very,
Personal. He was a personal.
very
manager.
personable guy. I walk into Dan's office. Hey, Dan, he said, John, I hope we don't get in trouble for saying this, but John, you fucked up. He said, you were set to fight for the championship of the world. You messed up. I said, I know I messed up, but I have to show the world it was a hiccup. He says, John, go home. It's Friday. He says, I'll call you when I have something for you. Cool. I go home. At this point, I didn't tell my wife I lost a major sponsor because that was our bread and butter at that point. You know.
That must have been heavy on your mind, though.
Oh, big time. As a man, as a provider, 1,000%. I have a kid that was just born. I don't even own a house at this point. I'm renting at this point. I get a phone call. John, come to the office. Dan Goosen. I'll be right there. Hey, I got to go into the office. I'll be back. Driving to Studio City. I go to Dan's office and John, I got a fight for you. I said, I don't care who it is, sign the contract. He says, it's Mickey Bay. At this point, Mickey Bay is Floyd Mayweather's #1 guy.
Yeah.
His guy is a stud, great fighter.
I remember the fight.
I said, sign the contract. I don't even want to look at it. Sign the contract. He says, there's one catch. How's that? What's the catch? He says, the fight's in 33 days.
Hi everyone, Andy Sarukian here, co-founding partner of Remedy Law Group. We represent employees in all types of employment cases, whether it's wrongful termination, discrimination, harassment, retaliation, failure to pay wages, provide meal or rest breaks, misclassification. Website is www.remedylawgroup.com. Give us a call. My number is 818-422-5941. Happy to answer any questions you may have. Free consultation about any potential case. Look forward to hearing from you.
Hey guys, Sonora Tires, 17977 Valley Boulevard in Bloomington, California. They do tires, mufflers, brakes, alignments, air conditioning. I've known Armando for almost 12 years. Him and his son do great business there, reasonable prices. So check them out, Sonora Tires. Tell them Popeye Ray sent you.
I said, holy, Showtime, main event.
At 135?
135.
And what were you weighing that day?
I was weighing like 158. Okay.
Fat boy.
I go home. Yeah, I go home, and I had made decent money. I didn't make big money.
Yeah.
But that money was in the bank because if I lose this fight, I better go get a job because I got a family to provide for. I got to figure this out. So I tell my wife, I said, hey, I'm gonna train, but I'm gonna do it old school, like Rocky. I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna run. I'm not hiring a strength and conditioning coach because I don't want to spend money if I lose this fight.
Yeah.
That's money taken away from my family. So I'm running around the streets. I'm doing it that way. We go to weigh-ins, and man, everyone's, oh, you gonna get killed. They're talking crap. I weigh in at 134.5.
Wow.
134.5, waiting for the fight.
And this was in 30 days you did that?
33 days was the fight. I did it in 30 days because we already flew up to Vegas and we had our room doing the press conferences and all the media obligations. So I'm fighting Mickey Bay. Joe Goose is my trainer, who is a great motivator, has the best motivational talks, and we're fighting. And I'm hurting Mickey Bay, but he's out pointing me.
Yeah, I remember.
He's out pointing me. I'm hurting every punch I hate using this because Mike Tyson used the same thing. Every time I hit him, he squealed like a little girl. Ah! And every time I hit him, he would make noises. Ah! And I was like, okay, I got this guy.
And it's funny you say that because this is what I say as a referee. I hear that.
Oh, you hear all that? Yeah.
And when I hear that, that's what I'm saying. Man, this kid, even though he's winning, he's getting busted up.
Yeah.
But go ahead, yeah.
So Vic Draculix was the referee. Great guy, great referee.
Yes.
And so I go to the final bell to the 9th round, going to the 10th round. Bay hits me with a body shot. Boom! Hard body shot. Son of a... And all the throw up goes in my throat right here. And I'm sitting down, and you can watch the fight back on the 9th round. You see me sitting down, and Joe Goosen pushes me. What's wrong with you? What's wrong? Hey, you got one more round. You've done it before. You got to knock this guy out. But he didn't know I had a mouthful of throw up stuck in my throat. I wasn't going to throw up on national TV because I don't want to get embarrassed.
Yeah, yeah.
I go out to the fight, our last round. We hit gloves. We come up, and he's bop, 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 bop going to my body, and he's hit me, beat me like a drum. And I'm like, and then where he messed up was Floyd Mayweather was right there. He goes to Floyd, he goes, and he disrespected me. I'm big on respect.
Yeah, yeah.
Disrespected me in the ring. And Floyd looked at him. I said, I'm not going out like that. I hit him with a jab. Boom! His head popped back, and his hand was lower.
Yeah, you caught him with that.
I caught him with that left hook. Bam! I hit him. And I hit him hard. I hit him so hard. But he went forward. All his weight fell on me. I said, okay, I got this guy. I go, and I'm throwing every punch from Covina down to Vegas.
You missed a couple of those at first.
His head would have fell off.
Yeah.
Floyd stands up. Hold him. Take a knee. Hold him. But he's so, he can't talk right now because he's on queer street.
Incoherent, yeah. Incoherent.
And I'm looking at Big Draculix. I said, I'm saying to my head, you're either going to stop the fight or I'm going to kill this guy.
Yeah.
So I hit him. Boom. I hit him with another hook. Boom. Finally, Big Draculix was 58 seconds left. Stops the fight. Shakes it. Shakes his hand. Joe Goosen does the classic jump in the ring, grabs me, picks me up. I still have the throw up in my mouth. I'm getting ready to do the interviews. I don't want to do the interview yet. Hey, Joe, I got to throw up. God damn it, kid, you better hold it until we get there. Pictures, interviews, walking back to the dressing room, go through the tunnel. Joe, I got to throw up, man. He kicked all the media out. Okay, go. Like, what the hell did you eat? I said, he gave me with a body shot. I had to throw up. I said, all right, let's go to the press conference. We're good. But the commission saw it, and they got scared because they thought throwing up was a sign of a concussion.
Yes.
Which it is.
Yeah, honestly, if you would have done that in the ring, it
might
have stopped it.
Yeah, it would have been bad. So, but reality was like I hit with a body shot, and all the food I ate came up. Yeah. That was it. And I remember I was there with.
But that was an awesome win for you.
A great win because after that fight, I signed with the great Al Haymon. And
Al Haymon, man.
And that fight, oh my gosh. I still have a picture of that fight. I don't want to get into particulars as far as financially what I made because I don't like talking about that. But I hung that. It
was more than what I made, I'll say that.
I hung that check up because of that fight.
It changed
life
your life.
Changed.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, we were partying that night in Vegas. It was me, Sean Kemp, Dave Chappelle was there. They were like, man, why you beat my boy up like that? I say, hey, man, I'm just doing my job. Just doing my job.
Did you see the Mayweather camp that night?
Everybody. Floyd came up to me.
Congratulated you?
Congratulated me. Great guy.
And that's what I've always said. You know what? Mayweather's a cool cat.
No, very cool. I'm sure he lost a lot of money that night.
Yeah.
But it was good. I go home and I'm watching a fight. You know, at this point, I have money I just fought. Life is going okay. My major sponsor comes back on board. Everyone's
I
good.
bet you that was a little sweat off
I
the
can
brow.
tell you, you're a man. You're a provider. You
Yeah.
know how that feels. Your job is to provide for your family. If that goes out the door,
Did you tell your wife this time, hey, you know they left
no,
us
I
here
ain't
for us?
this is probably gonna be news to her when she watches it. But so I get a phone call from Al Haymon. I'm laying down watching a fight. Hey kid, you need to come to Vegas. No. How would you like to be an Al Haymon fighter? I said, I looked at my phone because it said restricted. Al never calls with a personal number. It's always restricted. And he said, I'm going to send some people down. You're going to have to sign the contract. We met at my advisor, who was great, very great to me, Rick Seidner. We met at his office.
And an advisor, what does he just go over the contract, the details?
So
Like, is that what they do?
This guy is a very heavy hitter when it comes to financial aspect. He invested into my career, and he oversaw all my monies and made sure everything was right.
Good.
And so we go to his office in Glendora, California. We go to his office, and of course Sam Watson's there. The great Sam Watson, a great person, great personality in sport. And I got the contract. I didn't sign it that day. I go, there's a big contract, and I said, okay, I'm gonna have my attorneys look at it, and we'll go from there. All right, no problem. Cool. I waited about a week. I get a phone call from another. I'm not gonna mention her name, but hey, dear, this is so and so. Can I ask you a question? I said, yeah. She says, you do know who Al Haymon is, don't you? I said, oh yes, ma'am. I said, with all due respect, this could be the final final contract of my career. I need to look out for my family and make sure I'm financially secure. She said, dear, sign the contract. You're home now. I said, looked at my dad. I said, hey, here goes nothing. Sign the contract.
But John, what do you think she meant by saying that? Do you know who Al Haymon is? Did she think that you didn't know?
No, I think she
Or was she
meant,
trying to say something negative of?
no, at that point, you gotta remember Al Haymon is Al Haymon.
Yes.
This guy changes the game.
Yeah, he did.
This guy-
and still doing it.
But at this point in my career, I've only met him face to face one time. So I don't know him from a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
And
So it was all through the phone,
it
huh?
was all through the phone. But I knew he worked hand in hand with my promoter, Dan Goosen, Tom Brown, who's a great matchmaker, a great promoter now, probably the most prolific promoter right now. And so I signed the contract, and then I get a phone call. Hey, kid, you need to come to Vegas. Take you and your wife, come to Vegas. I go to Vegas, and we're there. I think it's I forget what fight, Angulo, Canelo are fighting, I believe. And we're there, and hey, Al wants to meet you right now. Sam Watson comes up to me. All right, give me the phone. No, he's here in person. He wants to meet you right now. Oh, I'm not gonna leave my wife here. The bodyguards are gonna stay with your wife. Don't worry about it. All right, I'll be right back. I walk into the corridors at MGM, and Al Haymon's sitting down right there. He says, John Molina Jr., how are you? He stands up. He gives me a hug, and I'm looking around. And he goes, what are you looking for? I said, man, that's some mafia stuff. I'm making sure you're not going to kill me or something. He says, that's why I like
Standing
you.
on some plastic or some
He says, that's why I like you, kid. He's all, you're the most articulate kid I know, and you fight like a kid from poverty. I said, wow. He says, I got to fight for you. I said, okay. He says, Lucas Matthysse. I said, at that point, Lucas is a killer at 140. I'm the hardest puncher.
Shoot you right to the top, bro.
Yeah. He says, don't answer me now. Enjoy Vegas. He says, you're home now. If that's not the right fight for you, we'll give you 3 other names and we'll make it happen. No pressure, kid. Enjoy. You're on the right team now. Okay? I leave. My wife asked me, what was that about? She says, I said, hey, they want me to fight Lucas Matthysse. What are you going to do?
So she knows of the fight game
she
as
knows
well,
the
huh?
fight game. At that point, remember, Lucas is a killer at this point. I said, look, he told me not to think about it. He said, enjoy Vegas. Let's enjoy Vegas. I'm there with myself. We're there in Vegas. Eric Villegas, who works with TGB. And we're there. We call him the facilitator. And we're having a good time. We go eat a nice steak. We charge into the room. Everything's done. It was good. I go home, and I'm watching. At this point in my career, I made 6 figures, but nothing, not life changing.
Yeah.
I'm watching the fight, Danny Garcia versus Mauricio Herrera.
Oh, yeah.
And Danny's a good friend of mine. I believe Mauricio won the fight. I think the fight went the wrong way, but whatever, it happened. And something struck in my mind, said, it's my turn to start shining like this. I told my wife, I said, hey, so what are you gonna do? I said, I'm gonna call Al. Al told me to call me directly. He wants to hear from my mouth to his ears that I want to make the fight happen. He'll send out the press conference. So I call Al. What's up, kid? I said, hey, sir. I said, let's make the fight happen. He said, all right, enough said. Again, I don't want to get into financials, but let's just say the next day I checked my account and there was training expense ready to go.
That's right.
And the fight happened, and I'll never forget. The fight was here at Carson,
And like I told you, Pat Russell actually called me this
Yes.
morning. He was the referee.
he was the referee of that fight.
Yeah.
And he told me that was one of the best fights he's ever reffed in
Yes.
his life. And I remember fighting Lucas Matthysse.
It's on the split screen now, so walk us through that.
So I'm fighting Lucas Matthysse. Let's go back to the day before. They have a hotel for you right here. Very nice suite to go stay in. I said, no. There's nothing like sleeping in your own bed
Oh,
before a
yes.
fight.
I've heard that from a few fighters.
I'm close enough to where I can get here on time.
Yeah.
I went home. I forgot about the fight. I fall asleep, and I wake up, and God is my witness. The first words that came out of my mouth was, "Oh shit, the fight's today." I'll never forget the fight today.
This was at 140, right?
At 140. My first fight at 140.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, that
I'm
was
moving
a
up in
bigger
weight.
kid, man.
So I
was
remember-
ringside.
Yeah, that was a great
Ringside,
fight.
bro.
So I go to the fight. My Nino, Enrique Garcia, picks me up. We drive through the fight. I get to my dressing room and like this is big. Like this is a big fight.
Yes, it was.
So Joe Goosen's my trainer, and we're warming up. And I'll never forget because we were at the weigh-ins, and there was a lady from Argentina. She had a doll, and she was gonna come touch me with the doll. My dad blocked her.
I was just saying.
My dad blocked her.
stuff
He
away
said,
from
I
me.
don't need that stuff, that juicy right here.
Yeah.
My dad hit her. He's like, nah. I said, what was that? He's like, this lady's trying to touch you with some doll. I said, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So we go to the fight. And I remember I sparred with middleweights because I wanted to prepare for the punching power.
Yeah.
I heard about punching power, and Zab Judah freaking reached out to me and told me, and I was like, Zab, why'd you tell me that? He said it was the hardest he's ever been hit by my teeth. I was like, I don't want to hear that crap before I fight him. And so we go to the fight, and I'm fighting, and I hit him with the right hand. Boom. And I hurt him. I said, oh man, this guy's hurt. He goes back up. I thought he was playing possum at first. I thought he was trying to lure me in and knock me out. And I dropped him again. I was hurting him with the shots. He was tough, but I didn't realize what we did until after the fight. The fans came up to us. They wouldn't let me go. I flew to Vegas the next weekend because Al wanted to meet with me again.
And let me say on that, in that fight, even though you lost the decision, you won more fans. I mean, your name became worldwide now.
Yes,
because that was such an exciting, it was just an exciting fight, bro. It was like the Rocky movie. You know how Rocky came back?
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
And people were telling me, I think Al Bernstein told me, John, it sounded like watermelons exploding every time you guys hit each other. It was amazing. And I will say this, Lucas Matthysse is the only man, I had 17 staples in my head, to ever make me pee blood after a fight.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. He hit me to the body, because I remember I was in tight with him, and boom, he hit me with the body, and oh, it hurt so bad. I was like, oh, but I couldn't show it because he smells blood in the water.
Go for the kill.
Go for the kill. But I go to pee in my dressing room, and hey babe, come check this out. She's like, what size is it? I'm all right, I'm alive, we're good. I go to get staples in my head. I said, no, I'll go to my plastic surgeon. I don't want a big gash. And the guy said, no, we got to staple you now. He says, but we forgot the numbing medicine. I said, what? I said, you come to a prize fight, and you forget the numbing?
Yeah.
What kind of doctor are you? So I rolled a towel, bite on it, and boom, 17 staples. It felt worse than the fight. So it was bad. that
But
fight.
yeah, that was an
changed.
awesome fight, John. I mean, you won more fans just from that fight. You won more the credibility. Just
Yeah.
your stock. Is that how it worked?
Yeah, the
Just
stock,
went
my
up.
stock rose, and I had the right team behind me with my manager Al Haymon. Tom Brown was there behind me, matchmaking. Goose and Tudor Promotions. I know that some of you young guys don't know that's TGB Promotions now,
Yeah.
but Goose and Tudor was a great promotional company. You had myself, Chris Ariola, James Toney, Andre Ward, Josecito Lopez.
Yeah, you were in the camp of just stars,
I mean,
bro.
Even like I said, it was, and Dan was amazing. Dan was a great
He
promoter.
rest in peace. He was a good man. He took me to, God, where did he take me for a fight? He actually requested me as a referee, and I was like honored, man.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Dan was a personality like no other.
He died, again, that cancer's such an ugly
Yeah.
disease. He died so fast. Bro.
He did, and we were in the middle of a contractual extension for myself and him, and I had a talk with him. Hey kid, I'm gonna take care of you. Everything's good. And then I get a phone call. He's in the hospital. I go, oh my gosh. I said, this is my money. Like,
Yeah.
what's gonna happen? And then I hear a few days later, he sends me a picture of himself. Hey kid, don't worry, I'm taking care of you. And I'm just in the doctor's taking care of some stuff. And I thought, oh man, he's just saying what he's saying. And then he passes away. I said, great. I'm sad that he's gone, but no one knows about our agreements that we had.
Yeah.
So our contract, this is big for my life
It's a
as a
livelihood,
man.
yeah.
And Craig Goosen, his son, I said, hey, I saw him, I went to the funeral, and I pulled him aside, I said, hey, I know what your dad did for me. I want you to know that I know what he did for me. And he says, and he shook my hand, I looked him in the eye, I said, so thank you, you guys changed my life. And I wanted him to know that. The whole Goosen family, I wanted them to know that Dan Goosen went to bat for his fighters.
Yeah.
And he made it work. And when I signed with them, it was at that time it was Top Rank, Goosen Tudor, Gary Shaw, Golden Boy, and like he was banging with all of them.
Yeah.
And so we signed with Goosen
No,
Tudor.
he was one of the big hitters,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
He was one of the big hitters.
So and I loved how personable he was, how he made you feel like you were one of the family members. The whole family, they've been good to me.
Well, look at how he took care of Ricky Funes.
Joe Goosen again with Ricky
Took
Funes.
care. That kid was from, I don't know, Ecuador or somewhere, but
Honduras.
he took him under the wing, gave him the gym, man.
Yeah, and Joe is like that. Joe is, to this day, I still talk to Joe.
Yeah.
And Joe is a great
Human being.
trainer, great person.
Yeah.
We would have a lot of talk about life, about everything, not just boxing. To be a trainer, you got to be a psychologist. You got to be a father,
Marriage counselor,
marriage
sometime,
counselor, everything,
therapist.
therapist,
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah. But you know what, John? Let's talk about. I wanted to ask you a question. If you had a second chance to fight somebody, who would you pick to fight?
I think it's hands down. It would be someone as fan favorite as me, if not more fan favorite than me, is Arturo Gatti. I think the late great Arturo Gatti and myself would have
Wow.
made a war.
Wow.
And I think
But what's that old saying? Don't throw a left hook with a hooker.
oh man, because
You guys were like identical.
yeah, and he's I just think it would have been a fun fight, kill or be killed
Yeah.
type fight. I mean, look at the fights with him and Mickey Ward. I mean, those are I still
Yeah, the
watch them to
trilogy,
this day.
yeah.
I watch them to this day because those guys did something special, and the referees were amazing to let that fight go on the way they did. I think it was great for boxing.
And you know what? Just for the hell of it, I'm gonna say 2-1. You would have won 2. He would have won 1.
And I
It would have been a trilogy.
I appreciate that. I just think he was.
To me, you were more of the bull, and he was the matador that tried to be a bull at some times, and that's where he would lose.
Yeah.
But that's why I say he probably would have won 1, and you would have took him on the last 2.
Statutorily speaking, I was big for the weight.
Yes.
Statutorily speaking, I was huge.
Yeah. You were a lot taller,
taller,
bigger
more
man.
age, and-
But yeah, that would have been a great fight,
And I could
bro.
crack a little bit.
just a little,
I
huh?
could crack a little, yeah. But that's what I love about boxing, man. It's like I say, anything can happen in boxing.
So let's jump forward, man, because we're running out of time. You know what, John? When did you say to yourself, "That's it"? And did it hurt?
I got to a point in my career where life was good, financially speaking. My family was set. Fans took care of me.
Fans love you.
And,
Still do, bro.
and-
That's why you're on third man in the ring.
And
Man.
there you go. And my kids, I remember being a kid and watching my dad get in arguments and fights on the street. He used to scare the hell out of me. I can't imagine my kids watching me fight and getting scared because now they're old enough to understand.
They comprehend. Yeah.
Hey, something can happen to my dad in there. And I remember I'm their hero, just like my dad was my hero. So, you know, I think it was time. When it was time, I made a decision. Part of my team, some of my bodyguards, Eric Burrell, Big E as we call him, Javier Adame, Captain John Haynes in my department, and they all played a major pivotal role in my life in helping me get to my next career, which is being a Los Angeles County deputy.
And with that said, John, it's crazy. You get out of one brutal sport to get into to protecting us, which I appreciate. You know, my son's at LAPD, and you know, even though I lived the other side of the street, to me it was a cat and mouse game. I never hated cops, but why would you go from one career to another dangerous career?
I think
what brought on sheriff?
Well, I wanted to be a cop before I was a fighter.
Oh, okay. So this was always in the back
Always in the
burner,
back of my mind. And when I retired, I was 37, so I felt like I'm.
It's either now or never.
Chronologically
No?
speaking, in boxing, that's old, but I was still young enough to make the decision. So I talked to John Haynes. We went to dinner, me, him, and his wife, and my wife. I said, hey, let me talk to you for a second. He says, yeah. I said, I want to apply to become a deputy. I said, but what do you think? He says, let's do it. And that was it. I went home that night. I applied, and fast forward, 5 years later, here I am. I've had some very pivotal, major mentors. People here, we run this beautiful facility now, which is free.
And what facility is this?
This is the YAL, the Boxing, the Biscaloo Center. It's free for the kids, boxing, jiu-jitsu. You have my partners, Deputy Steve Ferreira, Oscar Rodriguez, Jaime Romero.
And you know what, guys? Who better to train you than a guy like John Molina?
You got Julian Acosta and Harold. I can't pronounce your last name. I don't want to kill it, but great facility here. State of the art when it comes to boxing.
Beautiful gym, guys. Beautiful gym.
So you guys, 1060 Northeast Eastern in Los Angeles, come down. 3 to 7 Monday through Friday. You guys come down. Very open. We welcome you with open arms. No egos here. We are here and we train.
Well, who can walk in with an ego with you here? You know what I mean? Come on, man, let's be honest, bro. You know what I mean?
It is.
If I came in here big chested and seen you, I'd say, oh my God.
Even in my old age, I'll say, let's get in the ring, let's move around.
Yeah,
But
that's awesome you became a sheriff, you know, and I wish you all the luck on that, you know.
and again, I don't want to not mention this was Oscar Berrigan's vision. And he brought it to the forefront and made it a reality. And so he's responsible for all that.
Props to Oscar Berrigan, man. Props to you, man.
And it's growing. It's growing at a fast pace. So come down, guys. Come down and train with us.
So before we get off, John, I always ask my guests, if you had to sit down to a good meal, what do you like eating?
I got the palate of a 4-year-old, so I'm
You think-
easy going. I like pizza.
You're a pizza guy,
pizza
huh?
guy.
You wouldn't think it. And that's funny. It's funny that a lot of retired fighters, they tend to blow up. You still look good shape.
I blew up a little bit. This is blow up, but this is normal. I tell everyone I still look like Elvis, but just the one right before he died.
That was a good one. Yeah, that was a good one. But nah, you look sharp, bro. You look sharp.
And like I said, this is great coming full circle. I can't forget to mention Cutman Mike Rodriguez.
Mike Rodriguez, we interviewed Mike already.
He's part of he's here. He was my Cutman.
He's a detective, no?
He's a sergeant for homicide.
Yeah.
And great guy. He's helping out. He helps oversee all this. And it comes full circle. He was my cut man, and now I'm on this side of the fence. Nothing but respect for these guys, what they went through in their career.
Yeah.
This is not an easy career to go through, and what he's accomplished.
I feel for you police officers. My son again is a LAPD, and you guys go through hell, bro. And I'm grateful for you guys. And you know what? I'm talking to you street people out there. Just imagine if there was no police. Oh, well, I would do this. No, you wouldn't, bro. It would be havoc in the street. So, appreciate our police officers. Guys, give respect, man. Give respect.
And to touch on respect is huge. No matter what side of the fence you're on.
That's right.
If you treat me like a man, I'm going to treat you like a man.
That's right.
That's it in a nutshell.
And my next question is, what other sports do you watch besides boxing? Do you still watch boxing?
Well, of course I still watch boxing. My oldest is a gymnastics.
Okay.
She trains really hard. My youngest is a softball player, so I'm there with them as much as I can. I love watching it.
I love girls softball, bro.
It's hard to see my 12-year-old gymnast pound for pound is probably stronger than me right now. So it's weird.
That's a tough sport, bro.
She trains 27 to 30 hours a week.
Wow.
So my youngest see, she has, of course, I want her to be the best, so I hired her a personal trainer that we go see every week to better her skills. And she's a natural athlete. They say the apple don't fall too far from the tree, so she's a natural athlete. Both
the
my
DNA's
kids,
there, bro.
It's there. But it's exciting to see that. But I'm a girl dad, so I got a dog. It's a boy, so I'm okay.
That's
but
right.
I'm
That's
a
right.
girl dad.
I got 2 daughters, bro. Yeah, I feel you, man. My next question is, who's your best friend? Who's your best friend if you got a...
Of course, my ride or die, my wife.
Amen, bro.
She's been there through the thick and the thin,
through
the highs and lows.
And you know what? Mrs. Molina, now you know that sponsor left there, huh?
Yeah. And
she's like, why did you tell me?
She'll know that I'm the kind of guy, which I'm sure you're the same kind of man. If you were going through through rough water today, we're gonna be okay. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We take that to sleep.
Amen.
In ourselves. That's what a man is.
Sometimes my wife will find out later. She'll, why didn't you tell me? I go, babes, I got that.
Yeah.
I got it, babes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be all right.
You know about it. Don't worry about it, because I'm gonna make sure it's good.
That's right. That's right.
And that's shout out to a lot of dads out there, because that's what being a man is. Being a man is being the head of the household, swallowing that pride, and figuring it out. You got to figure it out. That's what it is. Life's not easy. Look at the economy the way it is today.
That's right.
You tell me any single income household that can survive today. It's difficult.
It's hard, bro. It's hard,
So,
but you got to keep going.
No,
you got to keep going. This is where I've always said about fighters, that they get in there every day just to entertain. In all reality, just to entertain, especially those club fighters, you know what I mean? And my last question is, maybe we jump back and forth. Why is it so crazy? As much as I love MMA, my first love is boxing. An MMA guy can get his butt kicked and still be the main event, but yet boxing, you could be in the top 10, you lose a fight, and they throw you all the way back to the end.
Well, boxing, as we both know, is a what have you done for me lately sport. And it's unfortunate. I think myself is a bit of an anomaly, given the fact that I had some losses on my career, but the fans still enjoyed watching me fight.
Bro.
They enjoyed watching me fight. And, I threw caution to the wind and said, let's get down. If you want to fight, let's fight. It's funny is I saw a comment. I did an interview recently with Ali, and people were saying, man, John Molina Jr., the gladiator, looks like a science teacher now. I laughed a little bit.
Honestly, you're not busted up, bro.
No.
You're not busted up.
You can hear it in my speech a little bit, but that's a small price to pay. I got to live my dream.
Yeah.
And I'm good. Life is good. I'm healthy. And life is good.
And my last question before we get off, John, what do you think of all the belts? They got, so many belts. In my opinion, I think WBC.
I think WBO, WBA,
those are
IBF. Those are IBF.
Yeah.
And then I love the Ring Magazine belt.
Yeah.
I love that belt. But again, I'm a boxer. I'm a fighter. I mean, these are things that we look up to our whole life when you're a fighter. And, you know, I love the sport of boxing. I think it's doing good. Shout out to who just fought, and the guy that beat Caleb Plant. Who Caleb's a great fighter. I forget his pronunciation.
Yeah, I refereed his fight in the Toyota Center.
And man, what a fight! Great
what
fight.
a fight! Very exciting.
I'm very happy for him because he just catapulted his career right there.
Resendez.
Yeah.
Resendez.
And that kid could fight.
And he lost his. It's crazy that I just asked you about losing. He lost to Garcia.
Yes.
Just his last fight, and then comes back hard this fight.
Yeah, and that's what.
And Plant, it was no joke either.
No, Plant could fight.
Yeah.
Plant is a great fighter. That was no easy task to do what he did.
Yeah.
When I was watching the fight, I was like, oh man, and I'm intrigued. I'm watching the fight. Great fight. And I saw someone say he looked like a young Mario Lopez. Shout out to Mario. What's up, man? That was funny.
Yeah.
And sometimes the crap talking on social media and
it can be fun at times.
It's funny at times.
It's fun at times. And other times it's kind of like, come on, stop, bro.
Yeah.
Well, with that said, John, I thank you for coming on Third Man in the Ring, and man, we'll do this again. You know what I mean? An update on the gym here and how you're helping the kids. Give me an interview with Gonzalez, man.
1,000%. Who Joe Gonzalez, who I just mentored to be he's a deputy now.
Yes.
And I'm very proud of him, very happy, and he helps us out over here as well. And like I said, it's a beautiful thing. One more thing to touch on. I want to help these fighters that reach the accolades that I've reached in the sport of boxing, and they have nothing to show for at the end. I can help mentor you guys into another career, whether it be law enforcement. Myself and Kalisha West, who just graduated and became an RN. Congratulations to her.
Props.
These are not
My wife's a RN, you know.
so not easy tasks to do.
Exactly.
But I want to show you guys there is life after boxing. And if you guys ever need help, you can reach out to me. And I'll be there to mentor you guys, any fighter, anybody in that for that matter. But
Amen.
there's always life after boxing. And
you know, I mean, in California, to California's horn, the executive officer, Andy Foster, actually got a pension going.
well, I'm part of that pension.
You know what I mean?
And
So California really
I
looks
touch
out
in
for
on it all the time. I check, because I can't touch until I'm 50. But hey,
What's that, another 40 years or so?
nah, man, damn,
Yeah.
8 years.
Wow.
8
wow.
more years.
Well, you look good, bro.
Thank you.
Well, with that said, John, I want to thank you again for coming on. I wish you the best of luck in your career, and we'll see you soon, huh?
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.